Okay, well, howdy everyone. We've got a few people already on the line. I see Lee Jackson, Dev, Cosmetics by FM, Ultimate Upcyclers just joined us, so thank you so much. I'm excited to have you here. Now, this is the Double Your Business in 90 Days. And for Amy and I, we have a little bit of echo, and we're going to work through the echo on our end. But if y'all have any issues with the sound, please let us know. And while you're here, a couple of things. Feel free to share that the show has started through your Twitter account and share tweet or share Facebook. That would be great. Love that. We're going to talk about why your marketing plan doesn't always work. And I will do the best to work through the sound issues on my end. Now, a little bit about me. My name is Leslie Hassler. I am a business growth coach. I have been, this business, Your Biz Rules, is about 2 years old. Before that, I had another business, which was interior design. So I ran a high-end services kind of a business. So I'm always going to talk to you about value pricing because that's really what my wheelhouse is. But even before interior design, I had a history of a career in marketing and advertising. So I did traditional and interactive agency work. So I actually have a lot of marketing experience to talk to you about. Now, if you joined us last week, we had Sabine Mesner on, and I thought it was a great show. Amy, did you think that was just fabulous?
Yep, that was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's fun about it is Sabine has a marketing advertising background as well. And what's really entertaining is we both believe that you cannot market your small business like we would see big brand businesses do. So everything I'm going to talk about is going to be very tailored to being an entrepreneur, very tailored to being a small business. And today it is about marketing and marketing plans. So we'll dive deep into that in just a moment. If you're listening to us as a replay on iTunes, this show is on every Monday at 1:30. You know, Blab is a new technology, so we get to help work through the kinks. There's no green room, so we really have to kind of let it all show. You know, where I'd rather have it just perfect for you. That's not how it's going to be all the time, but that's okay because we have a lot of fun. Now, I'm going to share some great content with you today, and then we're going to give you a chance to come on board. This is meant to be interactive. That's why I'm over here on Blab, because I don't like just talking. I like, you know, really hearing from you what you think about it, what you've taken home, what your questions are, how I can help you tailor something. Because when it comes to marketing, everything works. Everything always works. What makes it not work is when we don't tailor it to ourselves and to our clients and to our business. So that's why I like the kind of Q&A section of the show. Sometimes people are a little afraid or hesitant to come on, but I promise I don't bite. It's actually really fun, and we'll keep it really simple. Now, when we okay, so when it comes to marketing plans, let me see if I can do this. I just figured out why I'm echoing, guys. So give me just a second. I'm going to copy something off my website. I actually co-stream this through my website. And so that might be the exact reason why I was having such a horrible echo, is because I could hear myself talk. That would be why. We live and we learn. So howdy, Evangelos. Oh my gosh, Evangelos Chris. That is a mouthful, so I promise I'll get a lot better with that. But just figured out why I am echoing, so I'm very happy that I'm no longer talking into my own ears. That is really great. I get tired of hearing myself. But we're talking about your marketing plan this week and really why your marketing plan probably isn't working. First off, I want a show of hands. Say, yes, this is me. How many people that are here actually have a marketing plan? Like you have a document, even if it's just pencil on paper, that says what you're planning to do marketing-wise this year. Do we have people doing that? We've got lots of people on. Martin Spaghetti just joined us. I want to hear from you. How many people have a marketing plan? I'm waiting for some responses there. Now, the reason why I asked this question is because we are all marketers. If you own a business, you are a marketer. It's just a part of parcel. But a lot of us haven't ever really put things into the formality of a plan. And part of that is we've never, I will say, Evan, thank you. That'll make it really easy. We've never been taught what a marketing plan is, what it needs to have, how simple it really can be. Now, I have a document that I use with my clients, and it has a couple of components on it. So I want to kind of run those through. Amy, will you take notes for me and go ahead and just kind of put it into the chat as we go? But the first thing we start off with is I want to know how much revenue our marketing is responsible for generating. You know, we go out and market and we know that it's supposed to generate a result, but we don't really give it an expectation. So one of the first things we look at is per month, how much income are we trying to bring into our business? That's number one. Number two is we want to look at key messages, right? Key events that are going to happen throughout the year. And why is that? Well, that's how we determine what our promotional message is. Now, the thing that we have with marketing is I think people have this expectation that marketing should be like flipping a switch. And once you flip the switch, man, all the clients should come in. But we all know that's not the case. There are some really good strategies that can help you get some very quick results in marketing. But for the most part, if you're going to market for increasing sales in September, you need to start giving that marketing message as soon as June. Okay, so 3 months before is when you need to start talking about what you want sales for by September. Now you can shorten that to about 30 days out. But if you don't have an idea like going throughout the year, what you're going to talk about, then you're always kind of behind the 8 ball. You know, I was talking with a potential new client on Friday, a dentist's office, and we were talking about when her slow times are. Well, her slow time happens to be September. She says nobody wants to get out of school. She's a pediatric dentist. Nobody wants to be out of school in that first month of school. I'm a mom. I understand that. Well, you can build marketing in place to kind of compensate for that lull so that you have a very even year versus this year of ups and downs. But the key messaging aspect, that kind of third item is about your messaging and key events needs to come in. Now, I like tracking. I know Sabine was on here last week, and almost every single one of my guests will tell you how important tracking is, but tracking's like that thing that nobody wants to do. And I get that. But when we track our leads, that's the fourth item, is we have an ability to track our leads. We do two things. We set a lead expectation per month, and then we track it by week so we can see on a weekly basis how well we're doing. Do you see how like this marketing plan is not just this kind of set it and forget it type of a thing? It's actually meant to be a living, breathing document that you can work on, that you can pop open on Monday, open on Friday. I don't know that you have to look at it every day, but really interact with the document in such a way that it's useful for you. When it's useful for you, then it actually does something. The next items that it's going to look at is going to be all about all the different ways that you can market. So there's strategic one-to-one kind of outreach. There's strategic one-to-many. There's offline things you can be doing. There's online things that you can be doing. There are growth strategies that you could be putting into place for clients that you already have existing. Whether you're marketing outwardly or inwardly to your own community, you're still marketing, right? So there are 87 ways. We actually have, and I'll give you in just a minute, the way to get those 87 ways, but there's 87 ways that you can boost your leads to determine and grow your business. Now, we want a good mix. You know, that's what we're going to talk about here, and I'll kind of backtrack a little bit. So you've got your marketing plan. I'll get to the mix in just a second. But you've got this marketing plan. It is so easy, and it's nothing more than just filling in a little bit of plug and play and then using it. But as you choose these marketing strategies, you have to keep in mind, what is it going to generate? You know, I don't believe in spending money just to spend money. I don't believe that marketing doesn't pay for itself. It pays for itself in spades. But I have a concept, and if you want a good book to read for it, it's called Buying Customers by Brad Sugars. Amy can put that into the chat box for us, but it's just Buying Customers by Brad Sugars. And it basically talks about marketing is a way to purchase clientele. Okay, when you spend marketing dollars, you should expect clients back. So if you're spending marketing dollars and you're not having clients come back, it's probably time to stop. But you look at this in a way of, if you know what your cost of acquisition is, and the cost of acquisition is no more, here's how to get this really easy number in your business. If you took total number of dollars you spend in marketing in a year, and then you put in total number of clients that were generated. So you'll take your total number of marketing dollars and divide it by total number of clients. You'll come up with your cost of client acquisition. Now, I'll let you know that this cost of client acquisition can be all over the stinking board. And the ratio that you want to look at is you want your cost of client acquisition to be relatively low for the revenue generated. So if you're selling a $15 product, chances are you don't want to be spending $50 to buy a client, because that client would have to buy products, 4 times before it's profitable. If you're selling a $2,000 product and you had to spend $500 per client in cost of acquisition to bring them in the door, that's actually a pretty good ratio, right? We just want it to be relatively effective and be appropriate for your industry. So I can't, it's hard to answer that question across the board. I know realtors tend to be in the $100 to $200 range. Coaching tends to be in the $1,000 range. And so you just really need to get a good understanding for yourself. What's your cost of acquisition? When you know that number and you choose one of these strategies, let's say you choose networking and you choose a group, and that group has a yearly fee, plus it has those monthly meeting fees. You know, on average, let's say that's about $1,000 in just fees and time, not time, but just in straight out marketing fees. Well, if it generates $5,000 worth of work, it's a good return on investment. Tracking this number is one of those first mistakes that people don't do, and why their marketing plans don't work is because they're not holding their strategies accountable. It's like giving your child $1,000 and expecting them to spend it all wisely. I don't know about yours. I think mine would spend it on Xbox games and Pokemon cards and be coming back to me really shortly asking for more. Right? That's a bit what our marketing does if we don't tell it what's expected of it. So that one number, that cost of acquisition, is just like your gold mine number that you can use. And what I like about it is that when everybody has somebody saying, you need what I sell, you need the marketing strategy that I do, that I implement. Well, that cost of client acquisition is a 30-second way that you can see if that's a viable option that you need to consider for your business. So when you know these things, the next part of getting into your marketing plan that makes things really work for you is going to be about the mix. And so typically the mistake that I see here is that people focus on long-term strategies because they're the sexy ones. They're the ones that everyone says we must have, and expect those long-term strategies to build short-term results. Does that make sense? So on that 87 ways to boost your leads, I organized all those ways by typically how much of an investment it might be, if it's low, medium, or high, and then kind of coupled it with how quickly can you expect to see a return. So what I find is, and I'll tell you, I do this little exercise with my clients. I give them the 87 ways. I say, I want you to tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're doing. And then we do this at the very beginning. And almost everyone checks off 4 to 5 things that they're doing because they're working and they're marketing, right? They're not just sitting on their businesses and on their duffs. They're doing these things, and then they see why they're not getting any results. Is because they're focusing on long-term strategies. Now, long-term strategies really are meant to build in that pipeline. You need some long-term strategies, but you need a mix. And so there's 2 ways that you can do this. If you're in a cash imperative, and cash imperative probably is your startup, right? Or you're trying to really grow in such a way or come back or rebuild, and you need to generate some cash from your business. Well, the higher the need to build cash in your business to become cash stable, right, the more short-term and medium-term strategies you need. So our short-term strategy is one that is meant to build business in the next 30 to 90 days, okay, kind of that realm. In 1 to 3 months, you'll see a result. And there are some that can get you in less than 30, but that's really the crux of that. The medium term kicks in at that 3 to 6 month range, okay? And then the long term takes over from there. So you want to put the more cash you need in your business. Hey, thanks, 98 dude. Nice talk. Thanks so much. But you really need to look at the fact that you need to have a focus to build those short-term results. When you become more cash stable, we still want some of those short-term results, right? Makes sense. But maybe we're focusing more on more medium-term and long-term, because what we're doing is we're building in that pipeline. We want to be able to see business out from our business 12 months at the very least. I have a friend that's a fractional CFO, and he's like, 24 months, Leslie, 24. I just want to get people to 12, because most people can't see their money in their business past 3 months, and we want to get you a little further. So when you have the right mix, all right, you've got the plan in place, you've got the right kind of strategies in place, then you can start to have a marketing plan that actually works for you in your business. So that's kind of the content part here. I want to see if we have any questions out there. As far as what we're talking about today, we are talking about doubling your business in the next 90 days. And in my world, that starts off with a plan. I think I read an article for an organization just this week. And, if you think about it, how many people are planning their vacations for the year? Amy, do you have any vacation plans so far this year? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Where are you going?
Somewhere to see snow, since we're in Texas and the south part, we don't get to see snow.
So as part of your trip going to see snow, what are you going to plan for that? Are you going to have a budget?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Are you going to pick out a hotel room?
We're going to do VRBO.
Okay, so you're going to pick out a place to stay, right? Yep. Similar. You're going to know where you're going to stay. And when you look at that VRBO, what are you going to look for?
Price and amenities.
Price and amenities, right? You're going to see what makes it fun for your family to be there. Are you going to plan maybe any kind of excursions or tours while you're there?
We're going to plan some ski lessons.
Oh, ski lessons. Always good. Okay, guys, we're talking about vacations right now, and you're wondering, what the heck does a vacation have to do with my marketing? There's a point to it. So far, we know Amy's going to have a budget. She's going to find a place to stay. She already knows that she's going to have ski lessons. And what's your goal to figure this out? Are you going to figure it out when you get to wherever you're going?
No, we'll plan different things based on the timing, of course, because we're in a place right now where we need to find the location, but it'll be a couple weeks before we think about timing for ski lessons and other.
So I have a little feedback from your mic again. But so the point is, the soonest you're probably looking at going on this vacation is what, March? Spring break-ish? Oh, I can't hear you now. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you either.
There you go. Okay, we're back on with that. But, this vacation that Amy's going on, and I'm going on one in March as well. I have my hotel. I know what events we're going to be doing. I know when we're going. The flights have been booked, all of these things. What's funny is how many people are planning their business like they plan a trip. That's my point. You would never think to most of us would never think to hop on a plane, see where we're going to go, hope we can find a place to stay when we get there, and hope that we have a great time as we go. So if you're not going to do that for your travels, and most everybody likes to travel, why wouldn't you do the same kind of thing for your business? And that's what we're talking about today, is really using your marketing plan to grow your business. I'd love to see if we have some any questions out there. I know we've got lots of people on the line, and happy to bring somebody on if we want to talk about marketing plan. If you use a marketing plan and you swear by it and you know why you do it, if you are a marketer and you are, part of what you do is coach marketing, come on, we'll talk about it. If you just have a question, I kind of ran through things quickly, and that tends to be what I do. I'm kind of a fast talker. But if you have questions about anything that I've talked about, like how you find results and determine what your results should be before you even start a marketing plan. There was one thing that we talked about, having that right marketing mix of strategies. And I will say that, if you are an expert in things, that will make any medium-term strategy maybe a little bit shorter term strategy. But if you're having to learn, I'm going to admit, I've been trying to learn Facebook ads for how long, Amy? How long have we been working on this? Easily the last couple months, easily the last 2 or 3 months. Well, Facebook ads can be a really quick results. But if you have to learn it, it takes a lot longer. It takes that short-term strategy and makes it long. So I always love to start with people's strengths and what they like to do first, because it just means we're going to get results quicker. Let's see if we have any questions over there. I don't see quite any. I know we've got lots of fun people online. I've got Dylan, who's just their first day. Matt has joined us, really just talking about how to double your business in the next 90 days and why you need a marketing plan and why yours might not be working. I see we have one new message down there. Let's go down and see. Oh, we've got Brandon. Brandon just joined us. Well, welcome, guys. We're talking about doubling your business in the next 90 days and why your marketing plan doesn't work. I wonder how many people actually, after marketing campaign or technique has been executed, go back and track how much money was spent, how much time was spent, and how many clients were actually generated. There's a lot of things to think about when it comes to putting the right plan together for you. And what I love is no two plans look alike. That's the great thing. Well, it's fun for me. It means we get to do lots of different things, but you know, there's a lot of things that can kind of come together. I'm going to just check my notes here. Howdy, Brandon. Welcome. Yeah, no two marketing plans are alike. And you know what? No 2 years are alike either. You really want to make sure that you're growing with your business. It's kind of a nice thing to mention here is that, you know, growth in your business is about a series of taking a step up and releasing where you've been, and your marketing plan needs to kind of indicate that as well. So when you're looking at doubling your growth, there are some things that you can continue, and then there's some things that worked great to get you where you were, but they're not going to be the same strategies that work to get you moving forward. So there's always a difference for me between whether you have clients and you have momentum, or you're building clients and building momentum. You know, you use kind of some completely different strategies to do that. So that's definitely something we can talk about. I know we've got, let me see who else we have online. See if we make sure we've got Stephen Stott from the UK. Stardust Cosmetic and Luxury Beverages. I'm sure you have some fun marketing plans out there. We have Evan, and Evan is out to meet 10 million people. Wow, that's awesome, Evan. That's a great goal. My goal is to actually impact 1,000 businesses this year. So Blab is just one of the ways that we're doing that. Who else do we have on? I think we have Marsha. Howdy, Marsha. Nice to have you back. I know you've popped in for a couple of our shows there, so thanks so much for being here. Who else do we have? Oh, I have too many buttons trying to go at the same time in my little world. I don't know about you guys. Let me see. I'll get up to this next one and give people a chance to kind of put the question together or come on. And then we've got Brandon. So Brandon, why don't you come on? You're social media marketing. Let's talk about this a little bit. Would you like to come on and join us? I think you should see the open seat and just want to kind of call in. So we've talked about several things. We've talked about really what the components of a successful marketing plan are, how in our world it's really about making sure that revenue, leads, all of these things are tied together with your marketing plan and your marketing expectations, but also looking forward and seeing those key messages in alignment so that you're marketing ahead of the curve. It's always better to be proactive in your business versus reactive. We've talked about tracking the leads and setting expectations by month and by strategy. That's kind of a great double check. I think a lot of people have this expectation that their marketing is going to produce grandiose kind of things. Thanks, Brandon. So sorry, maybe next time we can get you on board. But, you know, grandiose results, but then they're not doing enough to generate those results. And some of the best ways to kind of determine that is to look back and see what your previous results were. I know for mine, I just, you know, looked at my networking, and on average, my networking will generate 3 to 5 clients. So if I know that I have my skills as a networker, if I were to find the same kind of potential group of good clients, potential clients, then I should expect to generate another 3 to 5 clients that way. So if it makes sense, which it does in my world from a return on investment to do that, then that would be a great another strategy to kind of add into those things. So just to kind of give an example there. Brandon's talking about he just launched a social media marketing network called the Billionaire Hustle Club. Awesome. That sounds exciting. So in talking about the doubling your business in 90 days, the first key aspect is about your marketing plan, and it is about generating one that is based on results and actually is designed to give you the results that you want. Have another Bronson. So you're an entrepreneur starting your own interior design, decorating, and visual presentation. You know, let's talk a little bit about services, because there's two. You can have product-based businesses, you can have service-based businesses, and then for people like interior design, people like landscapers, maybe you have a storefront and you provide a service on well of that. You're kind of that hybrid, right, of product and service. And so really one of the best, I'm just going to share one of the best strategies that you can put together is that circle of influence. Now, my multi-level marketers understand this, my network marketers understand this, but not all small businesses really understand it. And it's this concept, if you will, if your potential client is in the middle, if you think about this, and there's these spokes, okay? So there's 10 spokes that surround your client. And these are other business professionals who also service your client, right? And so when they service your client, they already have clients. This is what I love about this idea, because when we go out and network, so many people are about going in for the kill. You need me. I can help you. Yeah, I like to play a little bit more of the what I call the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I'm looking for the 6 degrees to my ideal client, right? And so if you've ever played that game where you name an actor or actress and you try to connect them to Kevin Bacon in a six tapes or 6 films, then you kind of get the idea of this. That circle of influence is building those people that are connected to your client in 1 to 2 steps, typically, versus the 6. But it's really about being able to leverage and get your more ideal client, get in front of your ideal client a little bit quicker. Speaking of networks, you're stuck trying to find one for new entrepreneurs. You know, I think it's always great to be in a mastermind environment with your colleagues, with people that are going through the same things that you're going through. But I have to say, especially when it comes to growing business, and if you're looking to double your business, going in with people that have a greater knowledge than you, just maybe a rung above or 2 rungs above, will grow your business quicker. Okay. And what you're doing is you're being able to stand on the shoulders of giants. And that's one of those really concepts of leveraging your time and your money to get the maximum amount of results that you could have in your business. And so, Bronson, I would caution you to find a really established group that you fit in with, that you can participate in, that it can be a win-win for everyone, but, kind of balance that with your new entrepreneur kind of level, and really be in line with people that are trying to have either serve your client, the same ideal client that you might have, or they've got the same type of business ideals. Because when it comes to that, you'll be able to work so much closer hand in hand than if you're working with people that might not be on the same growth path that you're on. So we've got a few more people that are kind of coming on. We're going to have about another 10 minutes in here, 10 to 15 minutes. So if you've got a question or something, please feel free to do this. Breaking obscurity has been my greatest challenge. Brandon, I might need a little more information about that, but let's just talk about that getting known type of value. You're building a volume when you're talking about your community, you're
Hi, everyone. This is Amy. I'm waiting to see for Leslie to be able to jump back on. She is up. Here she comes.
Let's see if that works anymore.
There you are.
Yes, and then it switched off camera. So hopefully, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you and see you.
Okay, welcome to the wonderful world of live videoing. I love it. I can't edit out a minute of it. I do have some perfectionistic tendencies, so it drives me nuts. But I was talking about Brandon. We were talking about really becoming known and breaking through obscurity, breaking through the noise that surrounds marketing using social media. You know what? There's noise about everything. That's about the truth of it. There's noise about business coaching. There's people that know what they're doing, and there's people that are learning what they do. And so there's a lot of noise out there. The biggest thing I can say, and where I was going with the comment a little bit earlier for Brandon was, Brandon was looking to build a social media networking club. I think it was called Billionaire Hustle Club. And those types of products are really built on volume. And so if you look at needing to build volume, here's the kind of thing. You're typically a lower ticket item, right? You typically are having to build volume. That means you typically have to pay to build volume because you can't do it at a one-to-one level. It has to be done at a one-to-many type of level. Versus if you're in a high price point, value oriented, you can for a while really leverage on those one-to-one kind of marketing strategies to become known. But when you're looking at things like this, and especially getting that really super clear social media, who that ideal client is, so that you can be really, really targeted. Because in order to build volume, you have to get in front of volume. Does that make sense? And then be consistent with what you're saying. I will say there's this one comment that I had, and I need to go back to my book because I bought his book, and so I should remember the gentleman's name. And he talks about, this was for team building and culture, but it works for marketing. Okay. So it's for team building and culture. And he says, that moment you get where you feel like I am going to puke if I have to say one more time what it is that I do. He says, when do I stop? When do I get to stop shouting from the rooftops what it is that I do? Well, when you get to that point of feeling sick and like you're going all over somebody, guess what? You're just scratching the surface, and so you have to be consistent. You have to say it louder and more times than you feel like you would need to do it in order to really start to break through all that noise. Amy's my VA, and she'll tell you how many emails do we send out to our community a month? You think on average 10? I think we do about 10 a month.
That's a good number.
Okay. There's a reason why I do 10 a month. It's not because I want to blast people or bore people, but I also have to maintain a certain level to cut through the clutter. Now, we went through recently and did the thing with our community of saying, you know what? We've noticed you haven't opened up in a while. A lot of great marketers do that. And you look at things and we say, if you don't need us anymore, if we're not providing value to you, please let us know and we'll take you off the list. I was amazed with how many people did not opt out. I think we had like seven people, maybe 10. That was amazing to me. I really thought we were going to have a lot more. So, the communication is part. You do have to be consistent. I know Evan's got a new question on here, so let's see. It says, Leslie, what is your most effective and pinpoint targeting for your marketing strategies for 2016? Okay, I'm just going to talk my business. Evan, if you'll let me know what you do, I might be able to customize this a little bit more for you. But when it comes to my business, I am a business coach, right? There are people that will identify with me, and there are people that will not identify with me. And because leverage is such an important thing that I teach my clients, I look for really leveraged pieces. Now, I do some networking, but I'm very picky with my networking. I do more than one group. I'm actually looking at adding a third. I'm contemplating it. But for me, they have to be completely different people. Like, I can have a little overlap, but I don't want to go network with the same 4 15, 40 people over and over and over. That's not leverage to me. All right. That's not getting my message out and maximizing that kind of circle of influence that I'm looking for. And usually, exactly as Craig says, you can't keep going back to the same well. Pretty much. You need to be consistent, right? So that they know that I'm here, they know what I do, but you can't keep going back to the same well and expecting to find a whole bunch of new fish. So I like to have that kind of diversified structure, and I'm strategic about which groups I choose and why I'm choosing them. The second element that I do is I speak. Now, speaking for me, this kind of brings up a good point here. So I love to speak. It's really easy for me. I can do it pretty effortlessly. I kind of joke that you could hand me a topic, I'd walk up on stage and talk about almost anything. I could do that. So speaking works well for me because it gets me in front of, again, a lot of people, and again, different people. And for me, what I have found is when people can hear me speak, that works really well for converting into new clients. I don't need a whole lot of clients, but I want really awesome clients. And so it's just a really kind of non-confrontational way for everybody to get to see if we might be a good fit for each other. But there's a component. So those marketing strategies that I talked about, you can choose a marketing strategy, and the next step or the next way to go deeper is to do it as a matrix. So if you think about it, for every strategy, like if you're just starting out and just building your marketing plan, I just want you to think, what are 3 different ways that I could do this strategy? If you have team, if you've got people coming in behind you, you could do it as far as 10. But for me, let's talk about what I do. So I do free speaking. So I'll speak for free. I do paid speaking. So that's another component. And I was trying to double check and see actually if my agency was on here listening today. So I have a Kim Tracy agency up in Denver. They are in charge of booking me for a fee. Then Blab. Blab is a speaking opportunity, is it not? So that's 3 already. Then I do webinars. That's 4. That's 4 different ways that I execute a speaking strategy. Does that make sense? They're all different from each other, but it's how I can take one thing and leverage it 4 different ways. So what I'm talking about here and sharing with you is I'm going deep on an element of my talk that I do that's an hour and a half about doubling your business and the 5 rules of growth. I'm just going deep on little bitty pieces here as part of the Blab. So I've already prepared the material. I already know my stuff when it comes to this, so it's easy to leverage. That's kind of one of those finesse moves when it comes to marketing plans. And then, am I missing? We are online. We are trying different things. I do list building as part of that. So it means, I'll do telesummits, I'll do other things. And like I said earlier, we're experimenting. We're experimenting with Facebook ads and Google AdWords as kind of that another leverage strategy, right, that gets me out there. Because speaking is very one-to-one. Networking is very one-to-one. I can't be doing that all the time and be serving my clients. So I have to have a leverage strategy in there that's not about me doing something. So I hope that helps and answers your question, Evan. Thank you so much for doing that. Craig was sitting here a little bit earlier. Let's see if I can scroll up and find your comment. That he's been creating plans like this for over the last 20 years. Craig, I would love to hear maybe some of your successes when what these plans have enabled you to do. He's a vice president of Glissandra. I hope I said that right. So it's a Canadian MLM that's expanding into the US. So thanks for participating. Love that. Love people that participate. That's so much helpful. But really the plan is the way to go, and having a plan that's really about gearing up and delivering that doubling your business. Doubling your business is 100% growth. I don't know if people understand that. You say double and you think maybe it's 200%, but it's really just about 100% growth. And so that's easily attainable when you have the right pieces in place. So we've been talking about those over the last couple of weeks, and today that's math. Yes, exactly. It's math. Oh my gosh, business is nothing more than good math. Craig, go ahead and take the open seat. Let's get you in here before we start to wind things down. Thank you, Leslie. You hit it on the nail. Okay, awesome. I'll let Craig come online. Just reading Evan's kind of talk here. He says, Leslie, you hit it on the nail. That had a great insight. Great. I'm glad that I could be helpful. Howdy, Craig. How are you?
Just great, thanks. How are you?
Doing good. Where are you joining us from?
Vancouver, Canada.
Vancouver. Canada's on our travel list. It's been on our travel list. I just have to choose where. So many great places to go.
Vancouver, if you're going to pick a place, consider San Francisco, surrounded by mountains. That's pretty much Vancouver. It's probably one of the most beautiful cities in the world and one of the most expensive.
Well, you know, that's the way it goes, isn't it? That's why I only visit. I don't live there. So introduce yourself, Craig. Tell us what it is that you do.
I've been in the network marketing industry for just over 2 decades. I've worn just about every hat. So whenever I see anybody talking about marketing, business plans, love to jump into the blabs. Not here. I'm not going to go and promote what I'm doing on your blab. Somebody can find out who I am and what I do. You already mentioned it, and you pronounced it right. It is Glissandra. It's a great industry once people understand it. Too many people are scared of those 3 letters, MLM. And if you're scared of it and you're not out there promoting it, or you're coming up with other names for it, that you got to be proud of your industry to be in it. But you also got to be able to make fun of your industry. So over the past 21 years, I've seen a lot of different things. I've been a distributor, I've been a trainer, I've been a coach, mentor, owner. I owned my own MLM company back in early 2000s, and now I'm the VP of a company here in Vancouver.
So let's talk. And I want to say we had somebody trying to drop on the seat, and I was trying to send you a message. We'll just take one person at a time. That way we can give good focus and things of that. But thanks for trying to jump on board maybe here in just a few more minutes. So you were talking about the fact that you had, you've been putting together marketing plans for the last 20 years. And yeah. I'm assuming you see a lot of new people coming on board, wanting to grow their individual businesses. So you've seen some that have had plans and you have seen some without them. Can you talk about the difference you see in the results?
Well, you know what? We don't plan to fail. We fail to plan.
Isn't that the truth?
And if you don't get out there and have a set marketing strategy, and the speed of the group is always just as fast as the speed of the leader. So when I say I've created a lot of different plans over the industry, I've not only just created plans for building teams, but also the actual compensation plans for companies. So I've had that ability. My best friend, that's what he does for a living. He sells software to MLM companies. He's helped launch over 550 MLM companies over the past 18 years. And in helping him, you get a chance to see what works and what doesn't work. We also get a chance to see that there's so much hype out there in network marketing, which is probably the reason that it has a bad name. Isn't because MLM is bad. It's because of the distributors out there that do it wrong. They get out there, they vomit information all over their friends and family. When they go to a family reunion, everybody shuns them because they've been in 17 different companies over the past 3 months, and they're always selling you the next flavor of the month. If you haven't got a plan to go out and build your business from strength, not from weakness, and this is probably the biggest failure that most networkers have. They don't treat their business like a business. And this is the biggest problem. If you were the owner of, let's say, an advertising agency, and you were hiring salespeople, and a person sat down in front of you and said, "Now, I just want you to know, Craig, I don't like working on the computer. Social media, I don't believe in. And I got to get 2-hour lunches. I got to have 2 half-hour breaks, and I don't work on Fridays." Would you hire that person? Of course not. But in network marketing, you know what? The person says, "I don't do social media. I don't want to do this. I don't want to buy the products. I want to do this for free. I need you to do everything. I'm not willing to do any work." And we're like, "Please come join me. You'll be great at this."
I think I heard a phrase once that was like, if you were to hire a CEO, would you still hire yourself? When you look at how you do in your business, if suddenly there was a CEO in your business, would you still have a job?
Yeah. I tell people similar thing, Leslie. I say, if it was against the law to be a distributor in your company, would there be enough evidence to convict you?
Oh, that's pretty good. Now, you said one thing that I wanted to kind of tap into, because I think when we are in business, we have this perfectionism component that we think everything should work exactly the first time, the way we put it out there. And you said something, you're like, when we've tried and figured out what's worked. So is there sometimes that the marketing doesn't work?
Oh, I mean, of course, there's a lot of things out there. Marketing is changing so much. And, as I'm not going to use my age, but I'm almost a boomer. Not quite. But I do have a grandson that turns 1 this week.
Congratulations.
And I've had a chance to do networking before the internet. And so there I really beat myself. And what people don't realize is that you can't just use the internet. You need to do a combination of high tech and high touch, which is why I love Blab. When I was introduced to Blab, what a great way to be able to connect with people around the world. Many people don't realize what that little map up in the corner of your Blab is.
I was just looking.
That's everybody. That's where everybody is. So you can actually scroll in, move around, and that's where everybody is. My little dot's up there in Vancouver, Canada. That's my little dot up there. And I see we got somebody just south of me. Looks like somebody's in Victoria. We got somebody on Vancouver Island, somebody down in Seattle. So it's really cool where you can see where everybody's coming in from, especially if you're building a global company. So, as I went back, the number one thing where I see people fail is they think they can do and build a network without creating a list. And that is the biggest failure that I see of all networkers. They haven't got a list in writing. They don't do it. They don't create it.
Well, and the value when you come to the list, and I mentioned list building was part of our marketing strategy, is, you're going to meet people at different times in their lives. And there's going to be some people that we are right on for, that now's the time. There are people that feel like they've got to get some ducks in the row and tomorrow will be the day. But if we didn't stay top of mind with them, and realtors have this same type of component to their business. It's about being in touch with people, because the thing is, there's so many people out there that do what you do. I know Mary, I'm in Dallas, so that's headquarters for Mary Kay. So we have a lot of Mary Kay agents out there. And honestly, I could probably call 6 different Mary Kay reps, that I know in a heartbeat. And, who I buy from, if I'm going to buy from them, is probably the one I hear from the most, the one I have a relationship with, the one I know, and that's so true no matter what it is that you're doing, because we don't, as humans, we don't have good memories. We forget that we just, somebody helped us 3 months ago and, oh yeah, they could help us again. So you do have to be consistent out there with that message. So what's the difference? We kind of talk a little bit about people that aren't doing the work, and so they're not seeing the results. But when you've got somebody that follows the plan, or a business that follows the plan, that sits through and talks about the things we talked about, looking at what kind of revenue, what that lead generation needs to be in order to meet the revenue, all of those components. What are the positive results that you've seen in your experience?
Well, because the internet has allowed us to do so much more in automation, we've gone too far on the pendulum swing. How many people do you actually respond to when you get the automatic robot on Twitter that automatically sends you a DM? Do you even read it? I mean, no.
I do read them. I read them, but I don't respond to them. I scan them.
So I mean, and then the very first thing somebody does on Twitter is they say, hey, thanks for clicking on Twitter. Now go follow me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I connected with you on Twitter, and now you're telling me that the way that I connected with isn't the way that you want to talk to me, and you want me to now go over to Facebook and go on Facebook, and you did it with an automated. So automation doesn't work. We all know on those automated messages, the automated emails, we're putting in autoresponders. The key is to make automation not look like automation.
I was going to say.
And if you can do that, so I call it semi-automation. And if I can leave everybody here with one thing, because my friend is a developer of apps and that, he developed an automated system for my company, but he genericized it for everybody. And he did allow me to, when I'm talking on Blab and stuff, to give a link to a 30-day free trial of it with no credit card. So this is not a shameless plug for me. This is a system that I've used to help my teams do their follow-up. And
so what's the URL?
So I'm going to give you a URL here for a free trial. Treat just a second. It's called Hour a Day because you can literally do it in an hour a day. This will take you right to the app in either Google or iTunes and allow you to download it. Now, here's the cool thing why I got excited about it. Because I got excited about Blab, I said to Dennis, you need to create an interface for Twitter inside the Hour a Day system, because the problem with Twitter is you can't organize your Twitter contacts. So
there's some challenges there, and there's some great systems out there that can definitely help you. And I love the thought that you're talking about here of this personalizing the automation, because it's the whole truth. I think part of the downside to automation, I use automation a lot because there's no way that I could do all that we do. And you're looking at the staff right there. Say hi, Amy. Hi, Amy's like, you're looking at it there, and we have families, and that's a big component, is to have that balance. But you have to go back and you have to be personal. You have to write personally. I think I was reading a book on writing a book, and they were talking about you're writing a love story to your potential client. And if all your communication was written in that kind of personal, intimate manner, then even when you do have to automate it, you get a lot of benefit. So Craig shared with us a URL out there for a friend of ours. What's the name of the software, Craig?
It's called Hour a Day.
Hour a Day, that's right.
That's the MLM version of it. He actually has a small business dream version, which is for non-MLM. Same concept. But it's the automation that goes undetected that works. So I call it semi-automation. So when you go out, it tells you it's time to send somebody a direct message. You do it through the software, so it links right into your Twitter. And then it gives you a little spot to put in. So you go check out their website and you say, hey, you know what? I really love the way that you use that picture of such and such on your website, because you added in 1 or 2 sentences to personalize it every time you do it. I don't look at my own. I'm the VP of a company. I don't look at my own Twitter. I have an assistant that looks at all my Twitter accounts and all my DMs. Anything that is automated, they are taught to not look at. Just delete it. Don't look at it. Anything that's personalized immediately is forwarded to me to read. And that's just my rule.
And that's a old school sales strategy, is it not? You're trying to get into a door, trying to make sure that you have those connections is by being personalized. So I love that you shared that. Before we see if we can bring one more person onto an open seat. So we'll open up one more seat if there's somebody that would like to join in. I'd love to have somebody that's been participating with us out there on the chat. So love to have that. But, the name of the show is Double Your Business in the Next 90 Days. So do you have a tip of strategy? I mean, we've talked about the semi-automation and components of that. We've talked about the list, but do you have like one more tip that's a double your business in 90 days kind of a tip?
Yes, I will actually. I'll give you one great tip that I use, and it means actually having to get out into the real world and go and connect with as many networking events in your city that you possibly can over the next 90 days. Get out there and meet people, but do not meet them and try to sell them on what you're doing in that initial meeting. Go out and just make a ton of friends. Connect with them, make friends, find out what they do, and then follow up with them. And the more events that you go to, eventually somebody's going to come back and say, hey, Craig, what is it that you do? I see you at these events. Leslie, why are you here? What it is that you do? And you never tell anybody what you're doing. You're always finding out. So go out there and make friends in your city. It is so much easier to build your business locally, build the fire hot, and then let it expand. Then everybody thinks let's go try to build in China because there's 1 billion people there. So let's go and do that. So that's my one advice. Get out there, meet real people, make real friends, high tech, high touch, merge the two together and have a lot of fun. Thanks for letting me come on to your Blab, Leslie.
Thanks, Craig, so much. And that's a great kind of parting wisdom there. You know, I took on a client in November, and I can share this with about it. But there were networking strategies like, we're here, use us. And I talked to him about it's really about the paying forward a little bit. And there's a couple of psychologies. Now, that's the thing about marketing. There's a lot of psychology that goes into how you say something and what you do. And I always know that I always come from it from a really good place. And I believe in the pay it forward kind of strategy and good karma, and what goes around comes around. But the way that I kind of explained it to you is when you give first to people, you're psychologically, they're looking for a way to give back. Okay, it puts people in a very giving mode when you give first. And, you know, Craig was just sharing with us about go out and make friends. You know, none of us like to be sold to. I would challenge anybody out there that loves to be sold to, especially the hard sell. You tell me on there and prove me wrong that they were there, but nobody really loves to be sold to. And so going out and networking with that kind of seller's mindset will always set you back and always leave you a little bit in lacking. Now, we do have time for one last seat. We're going a little bit over, but that's the way that things go here. And Craig's actually sharing, I know we have a couple of MLMs on here, and I do not service MLMs. So go with an expert. And Craig really seemed like he was an expert. So there's a link out in the chat just to see if that's something that you can help. And by any means, it's about learning. As Craig said, he's like, please join, no recruiting, just learning. That's what these things are about, is about learning, because that's how we really grow as a community. There's a couple of comments out here I want to address. Gilbertism. So let me click on that and see if it'll show me. So J.S. Gilbert is recommending that if you haven't read the book Influence, then do so without delay. Patricia came on and, you know, she said, what if you're unable to get out due to physical limitations? You know, that very may well be. I will say, and I went to a wedding in Houston this last weekend, and I saw my friend Evelyn, and Evelyn is a paraplegic. She's in a wheelchair. I know she gets out and does things, but you might not. You might be in that kind of homebound type of situation. Then it's going to be a little bit harder. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be a little bit harder, but let me share with you a couple of things that I've seen people do. Now, I have one friend of mine that suffered a stroke last year, an ocular stroke, and is blind, and when I died, she can't drive. So if she's not paying for Uber or having somebody take her to someplace, she actually has people over to her home. So she's still able to have that one-on-one networking kind of relationship in her home. It works really well for her. But if that's not a strategy that you can do, think about this. I mean, Blab is a perfect technology. I'm sitting in my TV room of my house. Normally, I'm sitting in my dining room, but it's a school holiday, so I had lots of beat feet running around the house. You know, Amy's sitting in her, you too, Amy's like, I think this is why Amy's a little quiet over there. It's what happens to us, isn't it? You know, but I love that. I visited my insurance agent earlier today, and he had his two sons in the office because it's a school holiday. And that's really what it's about with small businesses, right? Especially if you've got family, it's about how to blend them together. But use technology like this. You know, right now, it's on my laptop computer, but I'll show you. Usually I have a prettier camera. $50 camera. It has a mic. Usually works everywhere else except for Blab. But you know, it's easy strategies like that that can be about developing those relationships and do that. So Patricia, you know, this is the thing, is there's always a solution to every problem. It just may not be the solution you're most used to seeing. So if you're not able to physically get out, there's still ways to connect with people and still ways to be able to develop relationships. And so Blab is definitely one of those. Let me scroll back down. I don't see anybody else asking for the seat. It's about, J.S. Gilbert was sharing, it's about being an advocate and identifying and developing others to be your advocates. That's what Craig and I have been talking about in a lot of ways. You know, networking and building your circle of influence is one of the fastest, cheapest things you can do in your business. It is not highly leveraged, right? So if you're out there, like Craig says, make friends first, it's not a highly leveraged strategy, but if you're trying to get traction, it is an excellent strategy for that. If you're looking for high leverage, then you got to look at some other things out there to help you kind of support there. You know, today's show has really been about doubling your business in 90 days, why you need that marketing plan, what happens when the marketing plan you know, doesn't work. And it's exactly that. It's about give, and sometimes you get, you know, good karma is goes a long way over there. Yeah, I do. Amy's posted it up there. She's great at that because I will just talk and share as much as I can with you. But if you're looking for more ways to grow your business, and actually those 87 ways I talked about to boost your leads, that's a part of the free gift that Amy just shared with you. Here's my caveat. If you just want the free stuff, I'm great. I'm happy to give it to you. Go get the free stuff and then opt out. If you don't find value in being in part of the community, I'm okay with that. And, you know, no skin off my nose, because I really want people that stay to be getting value from what we share and the information that we do. But if you're looking for some strategies, if you're looking for two things, I've got it's 169 ways to grow your business in the next 90 days. The first one is 87 ways to boost your leads. So all about those marketing strategies. And like I talked about earlier, it's kind of a nice little assessment. It looks at investment, how high the investment might be, and relative to how quick of a return you could get as in results. Great little checkpoint. And then the other 82 ways are strategies that you can use to grow your business that aren't necessarily about marketing. So marketing tends to be outwardly focused, but there's also a lot of strategies that you could do interior. Yeah, I will say J.S. Gilbert was just saying that he feels undercapitalization is one of the number one reasons that businesses fail. I'll agree to that. You know, I know from my startup clients that we have, if I can get somebody before they've left corporate, fabulous, because then we can make sure that you've got the money in place, because you just don't know what you don't know. I don't know. Amy, do you know that that's true? You just don't know what you don't know when you open up your first business.
Absolutely.
Nobody's there to tell you these certain things.
Right.
And so I really like being the one to say, "Whoo, take a step back. Let's prepare a little bit better," because I know what's on the other side of that door before you do. But sure, you have a way to pay rent and pay groceries and really be profitable really quickly. You know, that's, I think, one of the mistakes. And Amy and I have chatted, you know, about really how business owners, you know, grasp this. But, you know, when we start out with pricing, typically we price by what we think people will pay, or by, you know, how much we earned as in corporate, or what somebody else charges. But we've never stopped and thought about how easy is it to be profitable. And so I love helping businesses really get profitable on a small number of clients so that you do have a way to pay rent and groceries while you're gaining clients and gaining momentum. So there's that. So that's about it for today, guys. We're going to wrap on. We've got a great, huge audience with us. The show is every Monday on blab.im at 1:30. Also, you can catch it as part of our Your Biz Rules. We post the next show, I think, on Thursdays as part of the blog. And if you're on iTunes, you can catch it on the Healthy Business, Healthy Family podcast show. And if you're on iTunes listening to the replay, or on the blab listening to the replay, go ahead and subscribe. We have some great guests coming up. Who's our guest next week, Amy? Can you tell us? I know, but I'll have you tell us.
Yes, our is Jenny Kassan, and Jenny is based out of San Francisco, and she was instrumental in crowdfunding and helping people secure private funding and investors for their businesses.
So I love this. Thanks, Gilbert. Thanks, Hicham, I think, new in Search Talk Live, signing off. But that's who we're going to have on next week. We're actually going to be talking about building leverage. So there are 4 leverage points in your business. And the one we're going to talk about is money next week, because that is one of the biggest excuses I hear about why people can't grow, is they don't have any money. So Jenny's going to come on and talk to us about using other people's money. It's a very deep subject. So I know we'll share as much much as we can as possible. But she is a crowdfunding expert, and that's, I know, on a lot of people's thoughts about how they could use that in their business. So we're just going to talk with Jenny next week. So be sure to join us at Monday. How did I get that word? Monday at 1:30 next week at Central Time, and we'll be talking about really developing leverage and using other people's monies to grow your business. So be sure to check us out. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, may your week be profitable. Thanks so much, guys.